Thank you. The next coach of the teleconference is the Hawkeyes are 17-10 overall and 8-6 in Big Ten play. Iowa will host Illinois on Wednesday before traveling to Penn State on Saturday. Coach McCaffery, good morning.
Good morning.
Please start us out with a brief opening statement, then we'll go straight to questions for you.
Well, it was a good week for us. We played well in 2 wins. I thought it was important coming off 2 losses. I thought we were consistent at both ends of the floor. Really played unselfishly. It got a lot of people involved, and hopefully that will continue.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go straight to questions, please.
If you'd like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from the line of Chad Listicow with Des Moines Register.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win yesterday.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah. Coming off another 2-0 week, I wondered if, Aaron talked about this on the post-game show, just needing the fans to kind of come out in mass against Illinois, and I wonder what your message would be to those fans who may be on the fence about coming out to see you guys.
Well, I've always been very positive about our fan base, as you know, very appreciative of how they have supported us, certainly since the time I've been here, because, we've weren't that good in the beginning, but had kids who played hard, and we kept getting better. I think we've got a great team that they can enjoy watching. I think we've got kids that compete and, they can relate to, and obviously it's an important week for us. It's an important game on Wednesday, and hopefully they'll listen to what Aaron's appeal was and come on out and fill this building up. We've had great crowds. It'd be nice to see it packed.
Yeah, just it seemed like coming off those wins against Michigan and Maryland, then the crowd was a little lighter against Minnesota and Rutgers. Did that surprise you or affect you in any way?
No, I don't. No, it doesn't affect me at all. No.
Your next question comes from the line of Scott Dockman with Cedar Rapids Gazette.
Hey, Fran, how are you?
Good, Scott.
You mentioned unselfishness on your team, and Anthony Clemens seems to fit that role just about as good as anybody. The fact he accepts his role, he'll play a couple of different positions. He'll always do what it takes when it gets into the game. And how does that unselfishness that he have kind of spill over to everybody else on the team, and is he kind of a catalyst for that?
Well, there's no question he's a great example of it. He's been tremendous ever since he got here in that respect. But I do think, it's everybody. I mean, we don't have anybody that is constantly, clamoring for the ball, and we have different leading scorers, regularly. You've got a great attitude in the center position where Woody supports Gabe, Gabe supports Woody. There's a very healthy competition there. Same thing at the point guard position. I mean, same thing at the second guard position. I mean, you look across the board, and everybody's willing to do what we ask them to do and accept that responsibility. And as you know, that's not always the case on every team. And when it's like that, you got a chance to be good.
Trey Dickerson's been ill, I guess, a couple different times in the last few weeks. Is this just a lingering illness, and do you expect him to be...
I haven't spoken to the doctors yet on that. I'm going to speak to them today and see what they're saying about that, and we'll get that figured out.
Do you expect him to be in uniform against Illinois, or is it too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell.
Thanks, Fran.
Yep.
Your next question comes from the line of Nathan Baird with the Journal and Courier.
Hi, Coach. Obviously, this is the time of the season where seeding for the Big Ten tournament starts to come into play as far as the finishes here at the end. In what ways getting one of those top 4 spots is more of a incentive this year to get that double bye?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, it's the furthest thing from my thought process, and it's not something we even discuss with the players. We just, right now, are focusing on the Illinois game. That stuff will take care of itself if you take care of your business. And I think you start thinking about that kind of stuff, you get ahead of yourself, and it becomes problematic. So, I don't know how anybody else handles it, but I can tell you I haven't even thought about it.
Thanks.
Yep.
Your next question comes from the line of Rick Brown with the Des Moines Register.
Coach, early in the year you were trying to get Jared to take more shots, be more involved in the offense, and he seems like he's kind of broken through that wall to the point where you expect him to play at a high level every game. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah. No question. He's got that ability, and I think he's got the attitude now, and he's really become a very complete player with playing with great confidence.
He's got a unique personality. Is that something you have to deal with as a coach, or you just enjoy?
You always have to deal with that.
Personalities?
Yeah, you always have different personalities, and the thing about him is, he wants to be good. He wants to be a great teammate, and you never have any attitude issues with him. He comes every day early. He stays late. He's that kind of guy. If anything, you just have to, continue to encourage him, like you said before, to be aggressive, because you never have to worry about him being unselfish. You're more concerned about him being more aggressive, and having that kind of mentality. But his personality is, I love the way he is. I love the way he approaches things, and I think we have a great understanding of one another.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
We've got time for one more question, Darla.
Your final question comes from the line of Rob McCauley with the Illini Report.
Fran, I assume that you watched the Illinois-Michigan State game on your BTN to go app during the flight home from Lincoln last night. So I'm going to ask you about the aggression shown by the two teams. In the Michigan State locker room, the players identified Iowa, Purdue, Illinois as the top most aggressive, basically wrestling teams in Big Ten basketball. So if you could give a breakdown, positions 1 through 5, where you think you have the advantage, where Illinois has the advantage in terms of just sheer muscular force.
I'm not going to do that. No.
Can you talk about how the aggressive play gives an advantage to Illinois or Iowa?
I think both teams are going to be aggressive, and we'll see who has the advantage.
Thanks.
Yep.
Coach, thanks for your time
Okay.
this morning. Next week. The next coach on the teleconference is Illinois' John Groce. The Illini are 17-10 overall and 7-7 Big Ten play. Illinois will travel to Iowa on Wednesday before hosting Northwestern on Saturday. Coach Groce, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's go straight to questions for Coach Groce, please.
If you'd like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from the line of Rob McCauley with the Illini Report.
John, is there anybody on the staff who has special training in shooting technique, who's gone to a coach's clinic that focuses on shooting?
I would hope that all of us can do that, Rob. Obviously that's a basic skill. It's an important skill, and we work with our guys. I don't know if there's a team in our league that gets more shots up. I'm sure everybody says that, but we shoot over and over and over again. We work technique stuff a lot in the spring and the summer and the fall. I would say that's a collective effort.
Apart from Jalen having flu or something, is there anything that can explain last night's 29%?
I thought it was a combination of us missing some shots, especially late. I thought our quality of shot in the game late was excellent. In fact, it was probably the best shots we had throughout the game, which was unfortunate. I thought the ball stuck too much, like I said last night after the game. I thought it needed to move more. I thought we over-dribbled. And when you do that against the number 1 ranked defense in our league, it's going to be difficult to get good or great shots. I thought when we did execute what we asked them to do, we got some pretty good ones. We just didn't make enough of them, so I think it was a combination of both.
Thanks.
Sure.
Your next question comes on of Stephen Goldstein with Chicago Tribune.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to ask about a year of readiness and freshman eligibility and what that would do both for student life on campus, on recruiting, and just the overall implications of a year of readiness?
Yeah, I've spent very little time thinking about it. First of all, it caught me off guard last week when it became, national. I'm like, where in the heck did this thing come from? Obviously for me, biggest thing as it affects, recruiting and just the whole general thought of it is, first of all, it's something that's either got to be done across the entire board, all 350-plus Division I teams, or not at all. It's that simple. I don't think on a lot of fronts that it makes sense from a holistic point of view. Certainly are there individuals that, hey, this particular individual might benefit from that extra year. I mean, sure, we all know that. Each kid's different. I've always said that. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't see it, in my opinion, I just don't see it happening. If it did happen, and the powers that be that are way above me decide that, I think the only fairness for it to happen at all would be that it happens all the way across the board. It can't be just a Big Five deal, or those are kind of my thoughts on it off the cuff. But I haven't spent a great deal of time thinking about it, analyzing it. Obviously this just came about recently.
Thanks, Coach.
Sure.
Your next question comes from the line of Chad Listico with Des Moines Register.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to ask about traveling to Iowa City. Obviously, you knocked off Iowa at the end of last year. What are I know it's a different team, but what are what lessons can you take from coming into Carver Hawkeye last year and getting that win?
Well, the first thing I'll tell our guys is last year's game has nothing to do with this year's game. And for that matter, last night's game has nothing to do with Wednesday night's game. These games are all separate entities. They are. It is. We could play last night's game again and might get a different result tonight, but it doesn't work that way. I think the parity is at an extreme level this year relative to the first 2 years I was in the league. I think there's a lot of good teams. I think Iowa's one of the really good teams in our league. And tomorrow, Wednesday night's going to be another one of those games. It's just most of the games, certainly not all of them, but most of them come down to the very end, and it just kind of is what it is. Obviously for them, they must have played. I haven't had a chance to see their film from yesterday yet, but they must have played really, really well. I'll watch that today. I know they've got a lot of older guys on their team that have been through some wars. A lot of guys that we respect that are good players, and it's going to be a big-time challenge for us, just like it was last year, just like last night's game was. This time of year, I think they're kind of all like that, especially.
And just following up, how much, Relante Rice, of course, went to Drake. How much of an impact or help has he been since his return to the team?
Well, he's been, no question about it, adding him to the rotation. I always say when you add a player, regardless of who it is, Ray or otherwise, there's a ripple effect. And I think, we still are starting to get used to that based on the rotation we was playing prior to that. We're getting closer. I think he's impacted the game, really defending and rebounding for sure. Offensively, which is pretty exciting. We haven't quite found our rhythm yet, which tells me we can get a lot better. And I've seen a lot of improvement with that really since he came back for the Michigan game, kind of on a day-by-day deal where he's getting more confidence in the hand. Guys are getting used to playing with him again in the rotation. Have we knocked that out of the park yet? Not quite yet. But I think if we continue to have the right attitude and disposition, obviously it's an advantage to have a player the caliber of Ray out there with us.
Thanks.
Sure.
Your next question comes from Nathan Baird with Journal and Courier.
Hi, John. Just to follow up on the freshman question, are there things that you already have in place specifically for freshmen in terms of helping that academic transition?
Oh, absolutely. Really for all of our guys, but especially not just freshmen, but anyone that's a newcomer. Yeah, whether it's a study table or different things we do for them, socially when they get here to get them adjusted, emotionally, making sure they have a mentor, the captains have a responsibility with our newcomers. We go through that. I mean, no question about it. Anyone that transitions in, and then obviously that's aside from what the university provides and our athletic department provides for those newcomers who take certain transition classes and are part of certain things that are required, and no question that there's protocol for a newcomer.
Thanks for your time, Coach. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
The next coach on the teleconference is Northwestern's Chris Collins. The Wildcats